My name is Michael Bai, and this is my class project for CSE 335. So the name of my application is called eBook. The purpose of it was to help cooks keep track of recipes as well as provide assistance while cooking. When you cook, it's very handy to have a bunch of utility at your fingertip because you don't want to waste time when you cook. And a lot of times you might have ingredients or something that you don't have currently, so you need to find substitutes. That's where my application comes in. It allows you to create recipes, save them, add images, take pictures of your recipes, and you also are able to see a herbs list and a ingredient substitute list. So as you can tell, as you can see here, these are the four different buttons on the main menu page, and I just told you the abilities of each one of these. So skip on ahead a little bit. So if you press on ingredient substitutes, it'll take you to a view controller, and then you have a text field that allows you to search for ingredients. This sends a JSON query to a web API called Spoontacular, and it returns you the results for the substitutes. If it returns nothing, then it'll tell you it will send a result back to you telling you that there's nothing. So if you press search cilantro, it'll tell you that the substitute is not found. And then onto the herbs and spices list. This is the list of all the herbs and spices that are most commonly used. If you click on any one of them, it will bring you to another view controller that has a WBK web view on it, and this allows you to see information about the herb or spice. You can see what it looks like, how it tastes, the most popular use, and it even tells you how to use it and how to use it in different ingredients or recipes. So if you go back and you press on the recipe list, it'll bring you to a recipe list. Right now I already have mac and cheese added to the recipe list. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the image. Oh yeah, I'm doing that because I have an image of mac and cheese. So yeah, it displays all this information right here when you click on one of the recipes. Ingredients, directions, images. And then you can also delete it by swiping left on the application. And when it's empty, you get to see that it says no recipes available. And if you press on the top right, you can add a recipe. So right now we'll do PB&J for this recipe. And then when you click category, it pops up a UI view, UI picker view, and you get to select one. We'll do appetizers and snacks. After you select it, it automatically locks it in for you. And you can choose a picture of your food or recipe that you made. As you can tell, I don't have any pictures of food, so picture was powerful. I have to do. You can select the quantity of the ingredients. It's limited to three fractions because that's normally the most commonly used in recipes. And you also got to select different measurement types. And if you type that, yeah, butter. If you press add, it will display it in the ingredient view. So as you press add, it displays it. And then right now we have up to five measurements, but there are plans to add more. And select it. You can see all the ingredients. For the descriptions, you can add any sort of description, and it will show you. Oh, can't really see it right now, but I'm typing in directions and then pressing add to add the directions, and then it updates the view for the directions. Let's skip forward a little bit. And then if you press save, it will save the recipe and display it on your recipe list. Like I said, when you click it, it'll display all the information. And that's basically the overview of my application. So for the class diagram, I had essentially 6 different classes for the view controllers. On the next slide, I have a more zoomed in version because it's pretty big. So as you can see here, I have the UI view controller, which is the main basis for everything. I have 3 classes, but ingredients has a relationship to recipe where it's a one to many, where you get many ingredients to a single recipe. In the recipe, you can see that I have category, image, name, direction, ingredients. The ingredient rel is the relationship to the ingredients, which is used in Xcode, like the core data, in order to deal with core with entities. For ingredients, there is amount, iname, measurements, and the relationship to the recipe. I have iname here because I didn't want to get it mixed up with recipe name, so that kind of makes it different. And then herbs and spices only has two different things. It has name and URL, which are sent to herb spice view control, the herb spice view controller. Before I get to the herb and spice, I'm gonna go talk about the view controller. The view controller is basically the main menu. It has a quit when you press the quit button, and unwind to main menu, which is needed for all the pages to go back to it. And from the main menu page, you can go to the herbs spice list. This view controller contains the UI table view for all the herbs and spices. I had to implement the names and URL hardcode it like manually because I wanted that list. So in that code, I have it checking to see that if it's already been built. If it's been built, it doesn't make it, hence preventing the duplicates. And as you can see in the list view controller, I have the data where it's stored, URL string or spice table, and then here I have fetch list, which gets the information from the core data, and then the table view methods, and then the view did load. A bunch of these view controllers all kind of have the same methods because both the recipe and the herbs and spice list, they use the UI view control, so they show that similarity. If I go to herbs and spice, so this is the page that loads up when you press on one of the herbs and spices. It sends over the URL string, and then web view displays it in the web view. It's very small because it was pretty easy to implement. With the substitute view controller, this is when you press the button, ingredient substitute, and as you can see here, I have all the items on the view displayed here, as well as string, message. So for search for substitute, all I had to do was send JSON data to a web service that I was able to use for free, and you would send it the ingredient name, and it would return a JSON, and in it contain how if it was successful or not, if it found any matches in the ingredients. And as you can see here, message was the message to see if it was successful or not match. String is the list of ingredients that you could use to substitute, and then success and result are the UI interface stuff. So for recipe list view controller, this was my one of the easy, well, not easier, but it had the same difficulty as the herbs and spices. As you can see here, it's the same thing. We're storing the data for the recipes and the ingredients, and then I have I have an array of recipes as well. I have fetch lists, which allows you to get the information from the data, and then I also have the boolean, which allows you to be edited. And the difference between the recipe list view and the herb spice list view controller, I have the ability to delete in the recipe list, because you want to be able to delete that, but you shouldn't be able to mess with herbs and spices because it's already kind of preloaded. And then you have the prepare segues to deal with the navigation. That's it for this one. And then now I have two more controllers to talk about. So the recipe list view controller splits into two view controllers. You can either add a recipe or you can view it. The viewing is pretty simple. You have the name, category, ingredients, direction, image, and in the recipe view controller, I just used a bunch of get functions calling calling the controller. Well, the controller calls the model and it gets the information through that. As you can see here, I have get category, get measurement, get directions, get ingredients, and also get image. Get image and get directions. All these here have string because I have a preset list of what each number indicates. So this allows me to get the category. For example, I think it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have breakfast, lunch. So each one of those correlates to that. And then the add recipe view controller was the largest, had the most lines of code because this is where I implemented adding the ingredients to the recipe. So for that, I have multiple buttons here, as you can tell. The main one, though, the choose image, choose camera, allows you to pick a picture, and then you have the void add directions UI button. This takes the text of the direction text field and adds it and just updates it. As you can see here, I have a couple updates. So the ingredient and the direction views are updated every time you add a new one. And for ingredients was interesting because for ingredients, I had to create a new database or create a new relationship entity to go back to the to recipe. So it had like I said, the one-to-many relationship. And what else? I have things that dealt with the UI picker view, which displayed the picker view and then allowed you to choose one of the topics. That was one of the more difficult parts of this design application. It was fun learning it though. So next I have the MVC diagram. I have the views, the models, and the controllers. So in all these, I have in the controller, it handles everything that basically handles everything, which is why the add recipe view controller is so big. Because for the model, all it had to do was just get the information and send it to the controller view. So when the controller updates to the model, it saves all the recipes and everything. And I called that function multiple times, as you can see in here. And when I looks like I'm running out of time. I'm trying to clear this up real fast, but for the view, it's interactions that you have with the user, and that's also where the picker view came in because that was a bunch of that was done in the view. So the capabilities and limitations of the project. As for the capabilities, I demonstrated to you in the video demo and sort of explained what you could do for the project. As for limitations, I would definitely say aesthetics, measuring types, editing recipes, lists of spices and herbs. Aesthetics was because I didn't have enough time to make it look all pretty and professional. Measurement types, I only had several because I wasn't sure what are the most commonly used measurement types. As for editing recipes, I just didn't have time to do that because it would taken a little bit longer to implement. And then the list of herbs and spices could also be a little bit longer. So lessons learned. I learned how to use UI Picker View and UI Scroll View, which was pretty interesting, as well as how Model View Controller worked because I would run into problems of the core data not being written correctly or not accessed correctly. So that really helped me learn how to use models more. Using JSON was interesting too because the web service I found, at first it was a little bit difficult to implement, but then once I found out how to do it, it's really easy and it can make a lot of apps much better. Testing debugging also was very insightful because I learned a lot of different ways to debug because I would get stuck in the same problem over and over, and that's what allowed me to kind of get better at those problems. As for suggestions for improvement, I definitely could add edit for recipes because that would allow it to be an actual ebook. Like you can erase stuff and then change it. You can. I also want to implement more web services, like find similar recipes, because the web service API that I use is very big and it has a lot of functionality. And adding pictures and increasing the amount of spices will work too. And that's my presentation. Thank you.